Yo, still here, man. QUINCY. 32351. Quincy still got me stressing, and it ain't been the same since Essence out of them streets. And we can keep them dumb commissioners from out of them seats. I ain't that club no more, so I ain't out with the same old freaks. I'd rather drink the Mr. Bill in the hood with OGs. The local DJ still ain't spending me or my dog, but I ain't dissing him no more to see him downfall. Man, we got the same struggle, cause we from the same city. So the hate in my heart done changed right over the pity. Give me a break, one time for bacon for straight. You can still make it out, man, it's never too late. And the right behind you, I'm praying and I'm hoping. But if you ever wanna come home, the door is wide open. Because
Quincy's got me stressing, so maybe I go to some place or somewhere I don't know. But I know as soon as I leave, I'll come on for sure. All that I know still got me stressing, still counting blessings, hoping that one day I'll make it on through. Every time I try to leave you, feel that I need you. That's what got me coming right back to you.
Whatever happened to the old days, where you ate the Dixie cups to be cool, and everybody hung out by the Shanks pool. Black top was O2, and every now and then they had a party where everybody got in bathing suits.
I wouldn't be where I am today without the help of countless individuals, growing up in Quincy. So, that's just one thing we always talked about, kind of paying it forward, even before the movie came out. We always talked, me, Shawana Moore, Charles Harper, Alex Jackson, all of us that were good students and good athletes who had influence. We always talked about how we could get back to Gadsden County one day. And now you look up, you see guys like Charles G., an attorney there in Orlando, Daryl Lee, Freddie Figures, just a lot of individuals, those same individuals that I named earlier. A lot of us are doing great things in the community because we are passionate about where we grew up. We see a need there. There's a lot of talented individuals that come out of that county if you just give them the right push, and that's just something I truly believe in. And so, like I said, I wouldn't be where I am without help. And so now it's my job to pay that forward to the next generation because, growing up now in the middle school or the high school, even the elementary school, there's another, Willie Simmons, there's another Freddie Figures, there's another Daryl Lee, there's another Dexter Jackson, or just the countless people who made out of Gadsden County have been successful. So I think that's part of our platform, and I embrace that. I know it comes with the territory, but it gives me joy and satisfaction to know that at the end of the day, we are doing good, in our hometown.
So my work is never done. My vision, my complete vision, is to work with different people in Gadsden County or Tallahassee to bring in basically like a engineering school, essentially, not even engineering, just computer science in general, IT, to engage the students in Gadsden County from ages 5 through 19 as an after-school program to come out and learn how to write applications, to code, to learn these IT skills that you can actually use and not have to go to college, and you can get a job coming out of high school right now making $80,000. From coming from Quincy, you making $80,000 coming straight out of high school. That's that's crazy. It's an 18-year-old, 19-year-old making that kind of money with these kind of skills. Just engaging with these young folks, that has the iPads and the iPhones in their face every day, to engage them like, hey, do you ever wonder why, and how to build these things? So working with my classmates like Betty McKinnon allowed me to come speak to her classes and stuff like that at Tallahassee, even in Quincy when she teaches there, to expose them to these things. But that's my ultimate vision, to get this engineering thing or this IT thing going in Quincy, where, coming out of school, high school, these kids have working resumes of applications that they actually built using these different technologies, to have working resumes to get jobs. So to bring jobs in the area, and you can work virtually and stuff like that, where they can spend their money locally to keep the money in the Black community. So I have a big vision. It's a lot of work, but that's what I have going on. It's a lot, but I have a lot of people supporting the cause. So yeah, that's what I got.
Shout out to Quincy, Florida, Big Bend area, man. Shout out to everybody who's putting in the work to, get what they want. But me, man, I come from a bloodline, Ricky Smith, Resty Smith, Rodney Smith, granddad, everybody, great athletes, I had to live up to that name. So I did whatever I had to do live up to that name. Basically work my butt off. I worked my butt off. Started at the recreation department and on the middle school, on the high school. But I did. I didn't follow the crowd, man. When people was hanging out over the summers, I was working at the pool, swimming, working out, then going back to work. My summers when I was young consisted of going to the pool, then going to work out, then going back to the pool to work, then going to 7-on-7 football practice, then going to basketball practice because I played basketball as well, and then going home. So my summer and I enjoyed doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I love doing it. I love doing it. So the kids these days, they got to find that love for the game. You can't like this game if you want to go to the next level. You got to love the game. Love the game. So, you know what I'm saying? That's my upbringing, man. I love the game. I love to compete. Not with just the people around my area, but compete, period. I want to be the best or the best on the field at all times. So I prepared myself mentally and physically to be the best. But yeah, Phil, y'all going doing a good thing, man. So yeah, that just my life growing up, man. Raised, live with my mom, and senior, got 2 kids, Alondra and Alondria, twins. It was hard. I was blessed with a scholarship to go to Florida State. There again, I went against the grain, man. Went against the grain where people told me not to go. They told me I was never going to play at Florida State. I was too small. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't big enough. I wasn't strong enough. But I went against the grain. I, chased my dream. You know what I'm saying? And some of the people that were my friends, told me not to go, and they gave me these same reasons. But I basically kept going, man. I followed my dreams, and boom, I end up playing. Not only playing, I end up dominating, man. I end up, leading the Florida State in turnovers my junior year, and college turnovers my junior year. And then my senior year, I end up, only allowing 144 passing yards the entire season while raising kids and going to school and graduated on time. So, if you put your mind to it, you can do it, man.
Growing up in Quincy, man, Quincy, I love where I'm from. I embrace where I'm from. It's a historical town, a small, close-knit town, and I grew up. My parents divorced kind of early, so it was on my mother, and she was a teacher and an educator at the great Stewart Street Elementary School, where I was Mr. Stewart Street in the 5th grade. So I didn't have to ride the bus. I rode with my mom every morning to work and to school until I got to middle school. And then that's when I started getting into sports. I played football with the recreation department first, basketball. I was a great shooter, great scorer. Didn't play much D. They called me downtown Tim Brown at an early age. And as I got into high school, that's when I kind of shifted, and I met a man by the name of the late Coach Joe Barnes, called him B. Taught me everything about basketball and inspired me to make me want to be a coach. And I can remember on graduation night in 1989, the last of the 80s and the best class that ever went to James A. Shanks High School. No offense to yours.
Oh, you're
but
right.
yeah, right. but that particular class, man, on graduation night, they say most likely to be coaching in the NBA. Didn't quite make it to the NBA. But now at the age of 50, going from back to there, being an ordained minister and a man of God, I'm still coaching, and I'm on a winning team. And it says in the Bible that your gift will make room for your future. This how I got here.
Like a dream come true. Like Mike Figg say, me and him started playing together in Little League football, all-star team. From there, we went to CP Middle School playing together. Then from Shanks High School, me and him was the only 2 players only 2 kids in the 9th grade that's playing varsity football. No JVX junior varsity football, just straight varsity in the 9th grade. You know what I'm saying? And the grind that we put in from 9th grade all the way going into our senior year, that what played a major role in my recruitment and everything. You know what I'm saying? Because every summer, every spring, we went at it, man. We went at it, and I got to give big props to those guys, to Mike and the rest of the defense and the rest of those guys for pushing me in practice. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't never do nothing on your own. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some kind of teammates or somebody pushing you, somebody to go against you. I mean, even though I had all the hype around me, it was those guys that brought the hype around me, because if they didn't push me the way they pushed me in practice and made me become a leader, none of that wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? I mean, starting from 10th grade, receiving a few letters, 11th grade to receiving boxes of letters, and then going to my senior year to where I don't even have nowhere to stash letters at no more. Again, coaches coming to your house. It's just a dream come true when you seeing head coaches like Bobby Baum, Urban Miles, you know, the big time guys coming into your house, coming to a little small town in Quincy, coming to your high school, getting you out of class in high school and everything. You know what I'm saying? Now we seen some guys ahead of us, my brother, Willie Simmons, Dexter Jackson, just to name a few, that did that. But when it came time for us, you know what I'm saying, it just was like a dream come true, man. A dream come true. And I just give all praise to God, and, you know, just hard work and dedication, just pushing myself, and my teammates pushing me.
Growing up, I grew up in a single parents home, like most black kids. Father was not there. But my mother was a very strict mother, and she was one that she played that role of mother and father. And she's the reason that I played football. Like I told y'all, she loved FAMU. She wanted me to. That broke her heart when I didn't go to FAMU, and it broke her heart times 2 when I went to Bethune Cookman. So when we were growing up, we would always go to the Florida A&M games, and we would go to all the games. But I was never that kid that had that athletic ability. Man, I was always the last string. In high school, I was the last string wide receiver. And Coach Andy Gay, legendary coach for Shanks High School, Coach Andy Gay actually took me under his wings. And Coach Gay helped me to learn how to play football, because we play street football. You know, sandlot. We call it sandlot. Kids don't do that now. But we played sandlot, and we played all in the pavement, all in the middle of the road. Bro, you had to be tough to play some football back in the day. But we grew up. We were not a rich family. My family did not have much, but my mother worked 4 and 5 jobs just to make ends meet. And she's the inspiration of my life.
And you mentioned Greg Taylor a while ago. I was going to school at TCC, and I was working at the Quincy Rec Department. I'd played ball through high school. I wasn't a very big guy back then, so I really didn't have a lot of options to play college football. But I loved football. My dad was a very good football player, and so it was a big part of our life. And I started working as I was working at the recreation department. John Everett was the head coach at Shanks High School, and Ricky Bell, who's a Leon County legend, was the coaches at Shanks then, and they asked me if I wanted to coach the junior varsity, help coach the junior varsity. I said, absolutely. So that's how I got my start. I started coaching junior varsity in 1983 at Shanks. And after that, I stayed with Coach Bell and Coach Everett at their tenure at Shanks. And then when Coach James took over at Shanks, I was on that staff as well. And then when I started to when I went to school at Florida State, I got a job at Leon High School, coaching the junior varsity there at Leon High School. And after I graduated from Florida State, I came back to Quincy and applied for a job. Coach Johnny Williams, legendary Coach Johnny Williams, was the head football coach at Shanks, and he hired me as offensive coordinator back in '92.
So coming out of the mud, man, coming out of Quincy, Florida, man, there was a lot of diamonds in the rough. Only a selected few of us, got a chance to make it to the big time. You had Rodell Thomas, you had Ricky Smith, Dexter Jackson, you had Abdul Howard, you had Leroy, Leroy Smith, Willie Simmons, Alex Jackson, Ronnie Thomas, and so forth. Me myself, I was only concentrated on football. I did the minimum, to get by in school, but I always just felt like, my athletic ability would take me anywhere. And, when push turned into a shove, when it was time to take the ACT and the ACT scores didn't match the GPA, I had to take the JUCO route. And, fortunate for me, I ended up going to a small town in Mississippi called Boonville. And, that particular town, man, taught me a whole lot, man. I learned a lot about myself, gave me character, learned how to survive, it taught me how to deal with adversity, and especially in the year 2000, you didn't think you would have to deal with stuff that, people in the 40s, 50s, and 60s dealt with. I dealt with some of that stuff too, while I was there, but I take nothing from those experiences, man. They helped groom and mold me into who I am today.
Growing up with, no mom, no dad, no guidance, it was tough. It was real tough growing up, man. But I had my granny. Shout out to my grandma, I love her to death. She stood in there and pushed me to better myself. Out of my whole family, man, I'm the only one got my A degree. I'm like about 12 credits away from my BA degree. And it just leaving Florida, going to see the world, man, it made me a better person. Even though being an adult, I ain't gonna say I've been the best person, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got ups and downs, but I live and I learn, and I'm happy in it. I'm in a happy space right now, in my mind, in my body, and in my soul, so. And growing up, I ain't never had my dad. My dad just got out of prison for doing 25 years. He just got out 5 days ago. So I'm finally getting to meet my dad, and we're getting to have a relationship. I got a daughter now. I have a son now.
And when y'all played this All-Star game that he always telling me about, that was supposed to be the legendary All-Star game with the best of the best out of Quincy. I guess Quincy and Tallahassee, but I know at least Quincy.
Yeah, it was mostly Gadsden County, literally all-star team, and we growing up in Quincy back then, they had two separate. It was one rec, but they had two separate areas.
Department.
Yeah. Back then, when we were growing up, they called it, you had the black boys and the white boys. Unfortunately, that's how it was back then.
Tell the truth, Mo. Be real with it.
Yeah, that's how they had it. What we call Jackson Heights. When we played it, and we had all the athletes out there and running backs and receivers and quarterbacks. But when me and Fig met, we met at the All-Star game, and back then Fig was he was a little bit bigger than us. He was a little more developed. He actually was a little bit bigger than I was, and we had a weight limit back then. So back then, the head coach at the time of the All-Star, they called him. He nicknamed him Man Mountain as a 9-year-old, right?
Man Mountain.
Yeah, because he was a little bit bigger than us.
I'm gonna call him that from now on. Man Mountain.
Mike was out there. He was at 9. He was he was hitting us then. I was little short, little chunky, something. But I was made a little weight limit because we had a weight limit back then. Now they don't have a weight limit, so we was on the All-Star team. Me, him, and actually Cody. Cody was our quarterback then. And we went up to Georgia and played their All-Star. Now they didn't have a weight limit, so they guys were a little bit bigger than us. So they went up there. And
when did you get into track? Because Mike say, like he just said at the beginning, you'll get out there and blow everybody off the track. So when did you get into track?
Oh man, it all happened around the same time. I tell you no lie. It all happened middle school. It happened for me in middle school. I wish I would have got started earlier, but I didn't have that push. I didn't have nobody to push me and lead me and guide me into that right direction. I almost like just picked it up on my own and then had people pushing me as I went on. But it all happened in middle school, and then, oh man, once I hit high school, it was a wrap. You hear me? When I hit high school, it was a wrap. I knew what I wanted, and I knew what I was going for. And then I had certain people pushing me, especially when it came down the track. Never forget him, Coach Smith. Pushed me to the limit. I was just a freshman. Pushing me to the limit, and I was always going. I was always going. When it came down the track, I was going. And he made everything competitive. I mean, I'm a freshman running up against seniors and juniors and everybody else. He made you run. He made you want it. If you want it, show me you want it. And I went for it.
Believe it or not, the final staple was, it actually came down to, I got offered from Louisville in my 11th grade year, and then I got offered from NC State, and then some other Alabama A&M, FAMU. But what really came down to me choosing Alabama State was the distance from home. It was the closest, other than FAMU. I didn't want to stay home, but it was the closest out of any of the other schools. And at that time, I still had a love for, coming home to seeing my family when I can easily. So there was a couple of guys from Tallahassee I met on my recruiting trip, Alabama State, and they told me they were going to sign there. So I ended up signing there too.
This is another episode of the Life in Football, Dedication and Motivation to Growth. Now, I want to talk about today about these upcoming All-Star games, these upcoming All-Star football games. If you just finished your football season, congratulations. I hope you had a great year. And if you're coming back as a player, I hope you have an even better year next year. Now, for my guys who are going to be playing in the All-Star game, so to speak, just say high school seniors who are going to be playing the All-Star game, or even the college football players who are going to be playing in All-Star football game. Enjoy those moments, take advantage of them. And for the guys who are looking for opportunities, the guys who are trying to go to the NFL, or the guys who are in high school trying to get recruited to a school to get a scholarship, fellas, stay in your prayer. I'm telling you, man, that's going to help you. God going to lead you to the right direction, and he going to send the blessing that he got for you. And trust me, it's coming. You just got to stay in tune. Let me give you an example. I had 2 All-Star games I had a great pleasure to be a part of, that God blessed me to be a part of. One, I was a part of the Quincy All-Star football team. I remember as a young kid, I was always looking at them, the guys who was a part of the game, and I was like in the 2nd and 3rd grade. I was looking at these guys like, dog, I really want me one of them Quincy All-Star jerseys, man. I want to go play in that All-Star game. And I would pray to God every night for that, and that God brought that blessing to me. And then as I got in middle school and high school, I wanted to play in another All-Star game. I wanted that opportunity to go and do better, not just for me, but for my family and for my future family. And I would pray another prayer to God, asking him to bless me to get an opportunity to play in an All-Star football game. I didn't get to do it in high school, but when I graduated from Alabama State University wearing number 44, baby, he blessed me to play in a All-Star football game named the Heritage Bowl in Santa Ana, California. It was beautiful, man. They flew me over there first class, bought me off the plane. They had a big sign waiting for me, Mr. Figure for Alabama State. They took us to the hotel. Beautiful, man. And what I love the most about this game, it was HBCU players from all over. Guys I had heard about, guys I had seen. And it was a good experience being able to connect with these guys. And furthermore, to be honest, God just sent a great blessing when he did that, because I was so happy and really understanding that prayer does work, because he has answered so many of my prayers. So for y'all younger players who are looking to be in the All-Star game in the future, say your prayers, get dedicated, and doing what you're supposed to do in your classroom, far as with your parents telling you, and also making sure you stay connected to God. Also, for my college boys who coming back and looking for an opportunity to go to NFL, yay, get in them books, the same thing. Hey, talk to your parents, talk to your coaches, talk to some of your family members, not just about football, but life as well. And most importantly, stay prayed up. Hey, this is another episode of the Life and Football Motivation and Dedication to Growth. And I gotta tell y'all, man, this was a great experience for me. I enjoyed it so much, man. Meeting guys from FAMU, Morehouse, Southern, Grambling, Jackson State. It just was a overwhelming experience almost, man, because they treated us like kings.
This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. It's life in football.